This is Pete Jones, and you are listening to the Dragons Are Real podcast. Hello and welcome. In this episode, I'm going to talk about Arkenforge's Game Masters Toolkit. But first, we have some call-ins.
Hi Pete, it's Dave Aldridge. Come late to your podcast, really enjoying it. Firstly, an apology. I've been using a little die rolling noise. I thought I was the most original person in the universe. Why is no one doing this? I might have known there's nothing new under the sun. This is your motif, it appears to me. So I'm going to cease and desist immediately from that.
All I can say, Dave, is great minds think alike. Like you, I thought, why isn't anybody using a dice rolling sound? And when I heard Shay using a clock for passing time, I thought, oh, dice would be a good idea. You don't have to stop and desist.
Secondly, I'm really glad to hear your review of Troika. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a bizarre and beautiful thing, and I can't wait to run it. I really enjoyed playing Advanced Fighting Fantasy back in the day, and a lot of the tweaks here, they're exactly the house rules that I made. Even actually having the damage tables in the inside cover is great. I remember in Advanced Fighting Fantasy, that's the one table we used all the time. Everything else you could kind of, you could make up off the fly. But I got really sick of keep trying to find my way to that table. In the end, I wrote it out. And just that little thing is, someone played a lot of Fighting Fantasy back in the day to have thought of doing that. I like the initiative system. It just seemed groovy to me. I'm keen to give it a try. Got a question, but I'm about to do a Jackson, so I'll ask it in the next bit.
I'm glad you enjoyed the Troika review. As you say, it's a thing of wonder. And same as you, I've yet to bring it to the table, but I look forward to doing so. And we have one more call in from Dave.
Yeah, sorry to go on, but riddle me this. You've got the rules there in front of you. I've asked this about. I haven't had an answer. I've asked it on Twitter. Given what we said about the initiative system, what is the point of aiming? I can act twice. I can shoot twice, I can have a separate roll each time, both of those with a chance of hitting, or I can wait, I can roll two dice and roll twice and pick the highest, and I've only got one chance of hitting. What have I misunderstood, or is the aiming rule a bit redundant? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, Pete, and thanks for the podcast. I'll catch you soon.
Dave, you seem to be right about the aim action in Troika. The only possible benefit I could see is if you took aim as your second action, and then next turn, when your chip is drawn, use the aim on your first token drawn, so that potentially you get pick the best of two rolls on your first action, and then you may get a second action if your chip is drawn out to roll again. But as you say, it's not very clear at all. I think that one's been underthought. So now on to the main topic for today. I'm going to talk about the Masters Toolkit by Arkenforge. This is a virtual tabletop designed for local play. And what I mean by that is that the Games Master has a computer which runs the software and is linked to a television screen which lays flat on the table in person in front of your players. I became aware of this product at the UK Expo. Walking around the stalls, I came across a demonstration by Nathan from Arkenforge on the software, and I picked up a leaflet. And it wasn't until I got home that I had a look at their website, saw the price of the product, and thought I would give it a whirl. The Games Master Toolkit comes in at £25 for the full license, or $30, and they offer a free 7-day trial where you can download the software, try it out, and if after the 7 days you want to purchase it, you can go ahead and do so. I bought it after 3 or 4 days. I was just so smitten with it. So what does it do that's different to other virtual tabletops? Well, for one, it's only in person. You can't use it online. The software is also in alpha testing at the moment, so it is not fully completed. but the devs are really active. It also includes fog of war, animations, which some of the online ones doing, some of the online stuff does, and it includes a sound module. And there's no monthly fee, which was another great boon to me. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to fire up the software and I'll talk through it. So the Masters Toolkit uses the same programming language as the upcoming Fantasy Grounds, and that is Unity. And it starts with a launcher, and when you open the launcher, that is your main hub. From there, you can access the Masters Toolkit, which is the software to run everything. You access the pack creator, which allows you to make your own packs using images that you've got yourself and animations. You can create your own packs. The software is available, as I said, and they have additional packs. They have purchasable packs and they have community packs. And I'll go on to first the packs that are provided for by Arkenforge and their creators. So the content packs at the moment, Arkenforge has got 2 products. They've got the Wild, which is outside packs, which is outside terrain, rivers, bridges, that sort of thing. That's another $25. They've got a pack of magical effects, which is $10. And then they have third-party providers, companies like Galefire, Dynamic Dungeons, and other companies provide maps and animations which you can buy to plug into it. And these are optionals, you don't need it at all, but if you want to add to it, you can do. And probably the one that some people may be interested in is there's an isometric one as well, where you can have isometric maps. Besides the purchasable content, they also have community submissions. And at the moment, they've got 2 sorts of community packs, community add-ons. There's the community packs, which are additional tiles and objects you can add, and there's 6 of those, all completely free. And they have some community maps which you can download to get you started. And these are used using the free assets that are already included with the software. And from your launcher, you can, besides launching the Masters Toolkit, you can also access download and install the official packs and the custom packs. But at the moment, it comes with Essentials, which is more than enough to get you started. I'm not going to talk about the pack creator today because I've not used it. So I'm going to talk about the Masters Toolkit. So from the main menu, the options you've got are Cartographer, Soundscapes, Encyclopedia and Scenario. Cartographer is mainly where you'll be working. This gives you access to all the maps that you've created already and any maps that you've downloaded. You can open a map, delete a map and add new folders so you can add things quite easily and manage everything so that you keep on top of it. On the main screen, you've got some toolbars down either side and your blank map. It works on levels, so you can have buildings with different levels, and within each one of those levels, items can be on different layers, so you can put things on top of each other within each level. So if you want to do a 3-level dungeon, you can do all in one map, do each level at a time. Your main tool on the left-hand side is your objects, and this is how you place things on the map. And they're split into several categories. The first one you've got is tiles, and these are usually for your backgrounds, your grasses, your seas, your floors, and you can put these down as individuals or drag them out. And it comes with a ton of items already preloaded. And for each of these options, you can either do each object as a tile, you can brush them on, or you can put them on with a polygon tool. You can alter the size of your brushes, and it really is easy to add things to the map. After you've put your tiles down, the next type of object you can put down are repeatables, and these are things like your walls, and you can click along adding your walls to the edge of your tiles, which is again nice and simple, and you get a nice selection of walls that you can add: wood walls, dark brick walls. So it really is, you don't need any artistic talent at all, it's just plonking things down. After that, you've got your objects, and your objects are your things that appear in your rooms or in your dungeons, and they come into numerous categories that you can add there. So you've got things like furniture, military items, nature items, structures, And in each one of those has sub-menus, so you can add your doors, different types of doors, pillars, staircases, you name it, they've got it. Majority of it is in the Essentials pack. But if you add the community packs as well, that adds a few more. And things are nice and easy. You can place an item, you can rotate it, you can randomly, each time you click the item, by holding the shift key, you can a variation of it on and it rotates it automatically, slightly, changes the hue. And there's just so many things you can do with the software inside it. Each object can be rotated, the brightness of it can be changed, the layer of it can be changed, so it can be placed on top. So if you've got a bed and a pillow, you can place the pillow on top of the bed, or you can place it under the bed. So there's so many things you can do with each item. You can also, with the items, turn them off so they're not visible to players, and I'll come to that later, but everything is visible by default, but you can also put things as non-visible to players. So as the GM, you can see that they're there. So if you're putting hidden items or hidden doors, you can do that. The other thing you can do is you can switch items so that they emit light. And that's handy if you're putting things like magic items or torches, so they will emit light. And that comes as part of the Fog of War, which I'll talk about in a bit. The other items you can place on the map are animated items, and those are animations so you can have flames or water or bubbles or something like that, and butterflies flying around on your map. And everything is nice and easy to place on the map. You can add a grid to your map if you so wish, and you've got options for different coloured grids. You've got square grids, hex grids, dots, so lots of options for your map. Also down the left hand side, you can add some lighting. You can place barriers on your map to stop the light shining through. Things like walls and objects can cast shadows. So if you've got light in front of a tree, you switch the shadows on, then when the light's in front of the tree, behind the tree is shadowed. But for small objects, you can turn the shadows off. So if you've got a low coffee table, you don't want a shadow cast across your map. So again, that would be switched off. Then you have portals, which is another one for bookmarks. So you can add bookmarks on your list, which are points where you can quickly move to. And you can also set a start point for where the map is created as well. Then the big one, Fog of War. It's got Fog of War built in. There's a couple of ways it works at the moment. You can have just Fog of War, which blacks out the entire screen for players, and the GM then on their map can then brush away the Fog of War as the players move around it and leave it there. You can have dynamic Fog of War, so as you brush along behind you, the Fog of War will appear again. And what you can do is add objects to the map to represent players and set the number of squares that the light emanates from them, and as they move, they get a halo around them of what they can see, and it closes behind them. At the moment, the software does not include tokens. That is an upcoming feature, but there's a workaround for it at the moment. Also, in the cartographer, you can add audio to your maps, and I'll talk more about that in the soundscapes module. And then you've got some settings that you can also do to your map as well. You can open different maps up. You can import media, so you can import images you've already created. You can export your map, and you can export your map as PDF format in a variety of sizes from A0 up to A4. So that's really handy that if you want to export the map you created and give it as handouts or for other reason, really handy. And under the advanced options, you can darken levels below and hide lower levels, or you can have them showing through. So if you've got a staircase on your map leading down and you've got a hole, you can show what's beneath the hole. So that is quite handy. So that is the cartographer, and that is the main one you'll be using for designing your dungeons. The next module is soundscapes. The next module I want to talk about is soundscapes. So this is a sound library already built into it, and it is absolutely fabulous. It comes with the Essentials packs, so there's a number of packs to get you started, a number of sounds to get you started. There's items like camp, city, desert, dungeon, forest, sea and tavern. And by opening up one of those, for example, if you open up the city, you get the option of a siege, a rainy day, a prison, and you can embed that in the map, or you can run it dynamically at your table. So from there we can turn the music right down, we can turn the ambience down, you can switch the songs, and it also has got a sound effects module. So For example, you can, if you want a dog barking, press the button on the SX module and you've got a dog barking. And there's lots of other sound effects you can put in, and you can add each of these to your map, or you can run them dynamically at the table. So that's the soundscape. So the next module you've got is the encyclopedia. This is still under development at the moment, but basically you can include details of your world, your campaigns, covers quests, so you can add different quests in here. You can customize the fields, and at the moment I'm using it for my scenario that I'm running, and I've got each entire level is on there, so I can go to a room, see what is in the room. I've got a narrative I can read out to the players, so I'm going to fish through a book. I can add any monsters in there, I can add the monster stats, and they can show all this at the table on my laptop, so I don't have to refer to a separate book, which is really handy. And the final part of it is the scenario module, and this is what you use at the table. So the first thing you do is you run the software on your laptop or your computer, you hook it up to your TV screen via HDMI, and you set that as this screen as an expanded part of your setup. And then under the settings, you will see then that if the screen will show up there as detected screen, and then you set the measurements of your width and height of the screen you're using, and that will then automatically put any maps with grids on as 1 inch to 1 square. So that's really handy. So for example, my screen is 88 centimeters wide by 49 centimeters tall. So when I start the screen and start the map, the player's map is already set on the tabletop as 1 inch to 1 square. Really handy. So once you start scenario, you've got a number of items that you can control from here. You've got the 2-player screen, the master screen, where you can have all your hidden items and you can look around and move it around. And then you've got the player's map. And on the player's map, you don't need to access this as often, but you can see what the players are seeing on the screen. It allows you to move the player's screen independently of the master screen. Then by switching back to the master's map, you can then toggle hidden items off or on and show them on the player screen. You can reset the fog of war, and you can brush the fog of war off with brushes if you need to add that. You can zoom in and zoom out of both the maps. You can alter your sounds at the table. You can access your journal. And the other item that's really handy is you can alter the time of day from nighttime to daytime and back to night again. So by altering that slider, you can give different hues to the map. And at night time, obviously, things are not seen. So it's really handy. The control takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it works really well at the table. So at the moment, I'm running Stone Hell Mega Dungeon using Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and I've been designing all the maps in the cartographer part of the Masters Toolkit, and it is really easy to do. Yes, it's time consuming, but the effect that you get at the table is absolutely awe-inspiring. I've run one session at the table, and yes, I did have a few glitches because I wasn't used to running the software, but the players were really impressed with the software. It gave a different feel to the game, and having all my notes on the computer as well at the table, it really saved me time. I had each room was numbered, and the room's number was hidden from the player's view, so at least then when I went to a map, I knew which room number was which. And then I can refer to the encyclopedia on the software, and I could see exactly what was in that room. I had the narrative bit highlighted so I could read out to them. In my notes, anything that was hidden or searchable was there, so that was really handy. And all the monster stats were there in front of me, so it ran really smoothly at the table. And on my blog I have put some photos, and I will put some more photos up as and when I use the software. Support-wise, they have a Facebook page, they have a Reddit forum as well, which they will answer, but I found that the most active place is their Discord, and I will put a link to the Discord and all the other things I've mentioned in the show notes. And the devs are really active in the Discord. If you have any problems you're not sure of, within 24 hours, and usually a lot less, they will answer your queries. There's some other great users on there as well, which provide you tips and tricks. The software is being updated very regularly, and tokens are coming hopefully by Gen Con. That's the one they're really working off. They've also got some great new releases that they're talking about with integration with OneNote, and they're working with devs from other software to help. So already, if you use the Sirenscape software, there's an API plugin for that, so you can get that to work with the toolkit. So they really are active. On YouTube, there are some great videos on how to use the software. And one I'm going to put a big shout out to is Knights of the Smith Dinner Table. They do some great tutorials on there, and also some actual gameplay so you can see it in action. And I'll leave a link below. And there's other users like DM Robbo who have put some links on YouTube as well with some how-tos, and Dante as well from the Arkenforge team. So there's plenty of support out there. They're really active devs. Stuff is coming fast and furious, and any bugs they're sorting out. So kudos to the team, and take a look at this software, because it's a 7-day trial, so you can try it if you would like something at your tabletop. I can highly recommend it. So that's it for this episode. That was Arkenforge, the Masters Toolkit. And if you have any questions about it, please feel to contact me via the usual channels via my website or via the Anchor call-in. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Dragons Are Real podcast. You can contact me by leaving a message via the Anchor app, or visit the podcast website, petejones.neocities.org, or on OSR Anchorites at the Audio Dungeon Discord. Thanks for listening. The opening music is Siesta by Jazar. The closing music is Controlled Distress by BizBaz Studio.